So today we're going to talk about a massive shift in our digital world. Seriously, this is about the moment humanity stopped being a guest online and finally started owning the house. This is the story of sovereign identity, the absolute foundation for ecosystems like Enkai and how it completely rewired our relationship with technology.
But let's start with a simple question. Just think about this for a second. Who really owns your online identity? I mean, is it actually you? Or is it just a messy collection of permissions, profiles, and little bits of data scattered across servers you'll never see, all controlled by companies you'll never meet? For a long time, the answer was definitely not what we thought it was.
Okay, so let's get right into it. To really get why this revolution happened, we first have to understand why the old system didn't just bend, it completely broke. It wasn't just a little flawed, it became fundamentally incompatible with our digital lives.
I mean, we tried everything to patch the holes, right? We created endless platform logins, government IDs, constant email and phone verifications. We even started handing over our biometric data. But do you see the pattern here? Every single solution just gave another key to our digital house to someone else. It just kept deepening the core problem. Our identity was always dependent on some external authority.
And this quote from the source material just hits the nail on the head. You weren't a citizen of the digital world. You were a guest in someone else's house. You had to live by their rules, and you could be kicked out at any second for any reason.
So eventually, the patches just stopped working. All the workarounds failed. The system didn't just bend, it shattered. The world all at once hit this massive, immovable wall, and it forced a huge realization. You can't ever secure identity until the individual is the one who truly controls it.
So what came next wasn't just some new app or a clever piece of code. It was a complete philosophical shift. Before sovereign identity was ever a technology, it started as a principle, an idea. And it all started with this incredibly simple but powerful idea. This wasn't a technical manual, it was basically a declaration of human dignity. The idea that being yourself is a fundamental right that you just can't outsource to anyone else.
And from that simple principle, these 4 absolute non-negotiable rules emerged. You can think of them as the pillars of this whole new identity model. No one, not a company, not a government, not any institution could take it away from you, change it, freeze it, or exploit it. It was yours, period. End of story.
Now, a great idea is one thing, but actually making it real, that's a whole other challenge. How do you build a system around that principle? Well, this is where a totally new kind of technology became the engine for this whole revolution.
The core concept is something called verifiable truth, and this is a game changer. So instead of handing over your entire driver's license just to prove you're over 21, imagine being able to prove only that one fact and nothing else. No name, no address, just the verifiable truth of that single claim. That's the idea.
And this was made possible by a whole new toolkit. You had things like ZK verification, which lets you prove something is true without revealing the secret information itself, and decentralized signatures. You don't need to be a cryptographer to get the outcome. For the first time ever, truth became verifiable without some big central authority giving the okay.
And when you combine this powerful new principle with this incredible new technology, you don't just get a small improvement, no way. You get a complete reversal of the entire power structure. You get what we call the Great Power Inversion.
This comparison just makes the shift so incredibly clear. In the old world, you had to ask Facebook for permission to log in. In the new world, Facebook has to ask you for permission. You're not just a user authenticating to a system anymore, your identity is the system.
And this shift, it absolutely shatters the economic model of surveillance capitalism. Just look at this chart. When user control goes from basically 0 in the old model to absolute in the new one, the entire business of harvesting and selling your data, well, it just breaks. It can't function.
So the crucial point is that this was the old hierarchy, the old pyramid. You had governments and corporations at the very top, acting as the rulers and authorities, and you were just a guest at the very bottom.
And then sovereign identity comes along and flips that pyramid completely upside down. You become the sovereign. Platforms become what they were always supposed to be, just service providers you choose to hire. And everyone else, they become a guest in your digital world, and they have to play by your rules. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice, right? How does a sovereign person navigate this new world? It all starts with a new kind of tool, one built for this new kind of power.
So, the practical tool that makes this all possible is called the Personal Data Locker, or PDL. The easiest way to think about it is like your own personal, super encrypted vault. It's tied to your device, it's decentralized, and it travels with you everywhere, giving you absolute, total control over your digital self.
But really, it's so much more than just a place to store stuff. The source material has this beautiful description, calling it a digital bloodstream, a living system that circulates only the data you consent to share. This means you decide exactly what credential goes to which service, for what purpose, and for how long. It's total granular control.
So who were the pioneers? I mean, who were the very first people to activate these tools and declare their own digital independence? The answer might actually surprise you.
It wasn't celebrities or tech CEOs. The first sovereign nodes were just everyday citizens. Office managers, teachers, technicians, retirees. They were ordinary people who had the most to gain from this change. And with every new person who joined, the whole network became stronger without ever becoming more centralized.
And the impact was just massive. As sovereign identities started to take root, it began to dissolve our dependency on big institutions across every part of society. Work, commerce, education, healthcare, all of them started to rebuild from the individual outward, not from the institution inward.
And this brings us right to the final, most crucial point. Sovereign identity isn't the end of the story, it's the foundation. It's the solid, non-negotiable ground that entire ecosystems like Enkai could finally be built on. Without it, Enkai is impossible, but with it, Enkai becomes pretty much inevitable.
So we'll just leave you with this one question. Forget about the way things have always been done. If your identity, your data, your entire digital self were truly and completely yours, what new possibilities would open up for you? What would you build?